Hey, what's up? It's Leah here. I feel like it's been forever and it's just been a day. But I just completed the 100 days of meditation. For those of you that followed along, thank you so much for riding along that journey. You can always revisit those, of course, anytime. But that was like my initiation into YouTube land. And I will continue to make content and help to support you the best that I can through what comes through for me, what has helped me, the new things that I'm learning. I want to continue to share. So I thank you very much for those of you who have made comments and suggestions and things like that, because it really does help me to help you. And when we're all contributing in that way, we do raise consciousness together. So for that, I really, really appreciate you. What are we talking about today? Today is just going to be a talk. I feel like I've been free of the meditation, although meditation is always going to be a part of my life. And I will, continue to give some of those, but they will always, I can't say always because I don't know what they'll be, but they will be given when they're given, I guess, because this whole thing is unfolding in real time in the way that it is supposed to. So what I want to invite you into today is, how is your life unfolding in real time exactly the way it's supposed to? So I find it interesting when I look back and see the meditations that got the most views. And a lot of times, people are struggling with things. People want to manifest things. You want to create a better life, live your best life. How do I create all this stuff? But then what about just right now? What about when you're in it? So I had no idea what a huge YouTube journey this would be. I didn't realize what a soul journey this would be. And that's why my soul called me to do it, because I needed to go through this evolution for myself so that I could continue to give back as a teacher, as a parent, as a friend, because it has grown me in ways that I didn't imagine. So maybe the last week you've been feeling a little energetically drained. I know that I have, especially coming off of this 100 days. But all of us are now coming into this new time, and we always are. One thing that this YouTube journey so far has taught me is that each moment really is new. You really are not who you were yesterday. You're not who you were a moment ago, if you allow yourself to stay open. So something new that I'm adopting in my life is I've been thinking a lot about, what are some old patterns I want to change? Some old patterns that you're like, really, is this still the thing? I've meditated on this. I've done spiritual work. I've done therapy. I've talked to people. I did the hike. I did the thing. I walked across fire. Am I really revisiting this old pattern again? That's been coming up for me, and I've received some comments from some of you publicly and private messages regarding things coming up and maybe losing faith. Like, man, but why? Why do I have to keep redoing this thing that I know doesn't work? Or maybe it is just luck. Manifestation doesn't work because things maybe look different than what you thought. So I'll share a little personal experience that I've been having this past week. I was feeling, since the fall, I've been going through these major transformations, right? Maybe you feel that with the pandemic and this and that. There's been these ebbs and flows of like, okay, we got this, let's go. Oh my gosh, we're recreating. Oh, these new things are coming at us. Oh, there's a divide. Oh, friends and family are changing, but I got it. Now I've got this second win, third win, fourth win, fifth win. And then some people just started hitting a plateau. And I know for me, since the fall, I've been going through major transitions. If you've been watching any of these videos, you know that I moved, and then I moved again almost immediately after, within just, a few short weeks after moving. It was like 6 weeks, or I don't know, 8 weeks after moving, I moved again. And then big transitions in my business and big things. And then the spring, it's like rebirth, and then hitting the 100 days. And suddenly I just got exhausted. A couple weeks ago, I got really sick. I started bumping up against my old patterns because this new way of being was emerging. And so it is like a death. It is like a mourning. Plus, actual experiences can change. Friendships can shift. And our mind likes to make everything so absolute. I'm never going to see, just like at the beginning of this video, I'm never going to do this way. And so we put these limiting restrictions on ourselves. So then if we do that way, or if we revisit an old pattern, then we really revisit a pattern by beating ourselves up. So this past week, as all this movement has been happening in the past 6 months, and it's been so great, and first and second and third and fourth wins, and then suddenly I just flatlined for a moment and I got sick, and then I started feeling really sad, because when you're low energy, sometimes you can get sad too. And then that's the perfect time for more, your immune system is down, your nervous system is shocked. And so that's when all the old stuff can revisit really easily and say, see, this is the old thing. And also old patterns were arriving. Like I have an old thing, for those of you, again, that have listened to some of my story. My dad, being a provider when I was really young, was always gone, and he just was never there. And, in the 80s, he didn't talk about anything. So I didn't know why he wasn't there. So I took it on that it was something wrong with me. So then I began overperforming for everybody and became people pleasing and trying to get people's approval because I thought I'd done something wrong. I always felt like I was in trouble over nothing. So when I get tired, sometimes that old default. When I get sick, sometimes that old default comes up. When I make a major breakthrough in my life, that old default comes up of being tired. And when I get tired, that's when the immune system, your nervous system can get shot, and then the old pattern can come up. So my old pattern of like, I did something wrong, even though life is just moving forward. So suddenly I started looking around and going, oh my gosh, look at all this movement that's happened. I've done something wrong. And then things that were falling away, instead of feeling the trust, I started feeling like, oh my gosh, I've got to fix. I've got to people please. I did something wrong. Just by literally going with the flow of my life. So I did something really silly and sort of tangible. Well, really tangible, but sort of, I don't know, just outside of my realm of possibility. And you might have already noticed, I don't know. But I never do like frivolous things for myself that don't, in my logical mind, make sense for some reason, right? So my hair like never grows past like mid boob or something. For some reason, it just doesn't grow past that. But I always, since I was like in elementary school, wanted to have like my friend Heather Ashby's hair that came like super long, right? And all the other girls like in elementary who had like super long hair. And I couldn't, my hair just never grew past that. And my hair, the longest I've ever grown my hair has been to like here. So the other day, I was like, I'm changing patterns. All this old stuff was coming up. And while this is like a really tangible thing, I was like, I would never do hair extensions. I'm doing hair extensions. I told my girls, like, I'm doing it. Let's do it. Because I just want to do something new. Do something new. Maybe it'll have a ripple effect of a change. And it's really crazy, you guys. It's like so long. Holy cow. Like, what in the world? And then, of course, I wanted to like beat myself up because I'm like, wait a second, it's summertime. Why would I want all this extra? And this is so weird. And why would I do that? And was that was illogical. But see, what's so funny about it is something so like superficial and tangible has become a spiritual awakening for me. Because I go, wait, it was fine before. And then I say, well, see, now I'm beating myself up with the new moment. It's fine right now. I'll have these for a few months. It's going to be a fun adventure. I've never had that. I feel like my friend Heather Ashby, and she's like the sweetest girl on the planet. I haven't talked to her since I was, a little kid, but she was so sweet and so, like, I always looked up to her. And when immediately this morning I woke up, I was like, oh my gosh, maybe I'm gonna, channel that inner, she just had this nice calmness about her that I always admired. And her family was so loving and such a beautiful, so immediately I was like, what would Heather do? Maybe I'm gonna channel my inner Heather Ashby, and just like relax. Try something new. Be in the adventure of my life right now. Through a few months, have this crazy long hair where I feel like, I don't even know. It's like it doubles as a scarf. And it's fun and it's weird and it's not something I would do. So I'm doing that. I'm changing patterns by when I really don't want to sit and I'm not going to be a hypocrite. So when I really don't want to is when I really need to sit the most. And a lot of sadness and anger and all sorts of feelings that I don't want to feel. I just want to be in the positive and feel the good and blah, blah. But this was present for me in the last couple weeks. So I had to feel it. And a couple of people super close to me, friends and people I've talked to are like, Leah, you're not yourself. Your energy is off. I was like, I can't fake it. I've got to be with this until it moves through, and then start making new choices. So a comment that I received recently on one of the videos was like, man, I'm so tired of people treating me badly because of my abuse. And that resonated with me so well. Like sometimes people think that it's permission then to treat you badly. And I had made a comment about that in one of my previous videos about abuse, and so that's why she made a comment about it. So I said, people will say like, oh, that's your thing. You love being treated that way. So I really was thinking about this because that was coming up for me. It was like new people were treating me this old way. New people who I was like having this awesome connection with were suddenly treating me this old, what I like to label as, toxic way. But then something that I realized is that I'm somehow don't be confused and spiritually beat yourself up and think that you're creating everything. Because sometimes people are just rude and they're really projecting their stuff and all their traumas and stuff onto you. So don't take on everybody's stuff, but come into your own frame where you can take responsibility and go, wait a second. There is some part of me that is either drawn to that. I'm drawn to that kind of treatment because maybe I want to fix something. I'm drawn to somebody thinking that I'm not good enough because then I can go in there and try to prove my worth. See? So it's not about saying what they're doing is great or that they're off the hook and it's all your fault, or that, oh my gosh, now I've done something wrong and drawn this mistreatment to me. No, to instead just stop and go, wait a second, I'm drawn to this for some reason. Why? Instead of wondering why are they treating me this way, or why do I keep attracting this? Why am I attracted to this? That has been a huge turnaround for me. Wait a second, why am I attracted to that? And then I realized I'm not. I actually don't like that. And that's a really empowering place. That is such an empowering place because then you go, wait a second. So I'm actually choosing that by default because of the conditioning from the past. Boom. So that's where you get to shift it and go get hair extensions. I don't know. You don't have to do something like that. You don't have to do anything superficial. It's really all from within. But also the people that say, to take care of yourself does not mean to go get a massage, and to take care of yourself does not mean, yes, it does. Actually, sometimes it does. And especially for somebody, if you're like me, who always puts that stuff on the back burner, like that is not important. And you have tremendous guilt over doing something that has logically no, like, why would I do that? Why do I need 4 extra inches of hair? That makes no sense. It's not logical. I'm not doing it. If you're like me, go do it. Because that is something inside that's saying, if you want to and you want to experience that, then do. It's not hurting anybody. Do that. And face the weird shame and guilt that comes up because of it. Of just doing something that you enjoy. Sometimes just taking a nap, right? I mean, if you're not used, if that's the old pattern is people pleasing and not used to taking care of yourself, sometimes if you have emails or things to do, just taking a nap, you could feel guilty. So do the opposite. Say, I'm going to actually take a nap. I'm going to actually sit with the emotions. Sometimes I do like to immediately go to the positive because I like feeling good. Who doesn't? But sometimes to do the opposite and say, I'm just going to sit with it. No, I don't necessarily want to feel sad or angry or whatever, but I'm going to sit with it until it actually shifts. Instead of trying to pressure it into shifting, instead of trying to manifest it into shifting, love yourself through it and then make a new choice. Say, okay, I'm going to do the opposite of the thing. I wish somebody would see me. You know, a lot of times we chase a situation, a person, place, or thing because we want them to see us so badly. And we've both been on either side of this. So anytime you've villainized anybody else, somebody else has villainized you. You're the villain in somebody's story, no matter what. We all play these. We're like, okay, who's that person? Is that the hero? Is that the villain? Is that the... Otherwise, why would people get married? Suddenly they're the hero, they're the romantic, they're the love interest, right? And then they turn into villain. How does that happen? Because the story changed. So let's instead change the story about ourselves. Instead of pointing the finger and being like, that person is toxic, they're, a narcissist or whatever, instead of trying to diagnose everybody else, say, okay, well, maybe that person is a narcissist. And instead of going, why am I always drawing in narcissists, which is a very victim mentality, which I get, it can feel like that, and you can, because they do target people who are kind and giving and things like that. So if you're like that, that can happen. It's real, but that's a powerless position. Instead, to say, why do I like that? And then shift it. So that's how we can begin to retrain how people treat us. Dogs are the same way. Animals are a great reflection of how you are with people sometimes. So I remember I had a little dog, and little dog Luna, and she was so sweet until one day she wasn't. She had a bone and she was not sweet, and she turned into Cujo real quick, and it was terrifying. It startled me because I wasn't used to that. I had a big dog, German Shepherd and stuff, and I was used to that with her. Wasn't used to that with this little dog. And she did that to me, and then it created a response in me, and then we kept recreating that so then I would be scared. So then she trained me, instead of me training her that that's not okay behavior. So you don't have to put up with bad behavior. You can remove yourself from the situation, but a lot of times what can be so painful is to say, why in the world would I do that to myself? Have some grace for yourself. And if the go-to is to beat yourself up then about choosing that, do something else. Who's the person in your mind who's really calm? Ask yourself, what would they do? How would they love themselves through that situation? It's not to be inauthentic and try to act like somebody else. But when there's somebody that you admire, that you say, wow, that person is like steadfast and calm and in their skin. You're seeing that reflection because that's in you. So to say, what would this person do in this situation? How could I bring in some of that for myself? And if you're calling somebody toxic or narcissist, to say, why would I be drawn to that? Why would I be drawn to that for 1 second? Why am I even talking about it right now? Why would that have any impact on me at all? Why would I choose that in my life at all? And recast. What I was going to say earlier is sometimes we want to be seen so badly by somebody because we realize maybe they just recast us as a villain. And so that it bothers us so bad. Like, I want to show you I'm not that. I'm not. Remember me? I was the hero at the beginning. Remember in Act 1, I was the love interest. I'm not the villain. And so we chase trying to have them see us or change their perception of us. And the more you do that, the more they'll see you as that character that you don't want to be cast as. So the new choice, stop. Stop trying to chase them to see you as how you want to be cast, and just recast yourself. And say, this is who I want to be. I want to be somebody who tries new things and gives myself permission to do that. I want to be somebody who doesn't shame myself for having chosen a pattern that I'm just used to. I'm going to be somebody who has some grace for myself when I'm feeling some like hard, low vibration stuff. Instead of trying to spiritually bypass and manifest my way out of it, I'm just going to feel it, let it actually move through. So then I actually can manifest, and then it happens fast. And then you don't have to push it down and have it resurface in another casting. New group. Okay, now we're going to have you play the part of, oh, you were the hero, but now you'll be the villain, blah, blah. And then you redo it again and say, oh my God, why am I in this play again? Just absolutely change the entire genre. Recreate your life. So I'm in it right now. I'm recreating right now. Myself from the inside out. Sounds kind of gross, but it happens from like, oh my gosh, I'm being mean to myself. That's my pattern. So then I'm reflecting out, I'm being mean to myself, so then people are going to be mean to me. And even using the word like they're being mean to me. That's like a 5-year-old. And that's okay. So don't shame yourself for acting out that trauma from a 5-year-old. You're just trying to nurture that 5-year-old, but instead now the new choice could be, okay, cool. I'm good now. My daughter made me cry this morning because I'm so sensitive lately, and you might be feeling that too. You know, some people think we're moving into 5D. I love that stuff. Instead of 3D reality, right? So we're feeling the vibe. Who knows? We're all electricity. So I've been very sensitive to just life lately. I'm like really right here. And we were at breakfast and she said to me, you know what, Mommy? You're the best mommy I could have ever wished for. And for those of you that have been following my journey, know that I'm a double parent. I don't like saying single mom because it sounds like something's missing. And really, I do the job of mom and dad, so I'm a double parent. And and she said to me, you're the best mommy ever. You're the best mommy I could have ever wished for. She said, you make my heart feel warm every day. And she said, I don't even want a dad. And it just like brought me to tears because sometimes, you know, you want to give your kid everything. And I don't shame her for wanting a dad. Because at first I kind of did. She started asking about it when she was like 2, which I thought, were we supposed to have these conversations when you're like 16? Not when you're 2. And so at first I was like, well, honey, there's lots of different families. There's some people who have 2 moms or 2 dads or 1 mom or no dad. And she was like, got it. I want a dad. So from that day on, I was like, okay, honey, there's nothing wrong with that. And if one day I fell in love with somebody and he fell in love with me and he fell in love with you and you fell in love with him, I mean, there's a lot of dynamics. And the cool thing is we would get to pick this person. So that's awesome. Then that would happen. But I also say that might not happen, you know, because I don't want to shame her, but I also don't want to be like, that's going to happen tomorrow, because I don't know, because I'm not signed up for anything but A+. A+ meaning a perfectly imperfect whole person. Because that's the other thing. If you're looking for perfection in somebody, then again, there's something inside of you that says, I'm imperfect and I want to fill this hole by finding that in somebody else. And that's not going to happen. So accept where you are. Like, okay, this is where I am. I don't need to fight to manifest something else. I can feel where I am. And by doing that and just making some small new choices, if my go-to is to beat myself up, I'm not going to. If I never treat myself to something frivolous that doesn't make sense, I'm going to. And just try something new. Reorganize. Try something new. Sometimes reorganizing your furniture changes up the energy and vibe in your house. Reorganize your thoughts. If I always go to, I bring in narcissists, or I bring in this kind of abuse, or say, oop, new choice. Why am I attracted to that? Oh wait, I'm not. Okay, I'm gonna make a new choice. It can be that simple. So it was so beautiful this morning when my daughter was like, you're the best mom. And I don't even want a dad. Because to me it was acceptance. And it's okay that she does want that. But it was so beautiful that she was in acceptance. We both had like tears in our eyes, and it was just beautiful. And she says, they're happy tears. And I said, they are, honey, they are happy tears. So you've created today. Today is a gift. Everything you're feeling is a gift to evolve you. To sit and feel those things is how we shift. That's how we move beyond the pattern. By trying to force out of the pattern, manifest out of the pattern, that's not how we move out of it. Be with it. Have grace for yourself for doing that once again. And then just choose differently. Slow. I don't know if it has to be a slow choice, but baby choices, baby steps. And you got this. So I'll see you in the next video. So much love to you.